Ooh, hello. So the music at the start of this game is just one of those creeper songs, isn't it? It's like ooh. Call me off guard. Hello, how we doing? Welcome to another YouTube cast. I know it feels like we cast these two players a lot, but at the end of the day, you guys seem to enjoy watching them, and if they play another series, I'm pretty likely to catch it, and they actually have just played each other a bunch lately in the Olimoleague events, which is where I get a lot of these replays from for the YouTube channel. To the top left, we're going to be casting our Red Terran player INnoVation against the pink Protoss to the bottom right, Zest, in a best-of-3 series from the Olimoleague. So as always, just picking up these replays from the Olimoleague. Do check them out, patreon.com/Olimoleague, if you want to get your hands on the replays yourself. I've been trying to get hands on some other replays here and there as well, but honestly, the Olimoleague ones just seem to be the best lately, and if they're the best, that's the one, those are the ones we're going to grab and cast for you guys, because I want to give you guys the best possible games. So this is the best of 3. Great to have you guys with me, and as always, if you do end up liking this video, if you do enjoy liking this cast, do consider hitting the like button on the video, and of course, if you're still not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, I don't know how you wouldn't be with me saying it so much, please do consider subscribing as well. We're really trying to raise up that subscriber count to 10,000 by the end of the year, and we're doing a pretty good job of it, I'd say, so far, and as always, we're trying to just improve the YouTube content, putting out a video a day, making sure it's a good video, it's good content. You're never going to get uploads where, it's going to be like a 12 pool twice in a row and the games are like 5 minutes long. Always making sure to pick the best matches and the best games and stuff like that nowadays. As well as these YouTube exclusives, which kind of follow the same trend, right? Picking the best matches, casting the replays, and getting them up on the channel for you guys. So with that said, with those like buttons clicked, your comments left down below, your Protoss balance wine well adjusted for the series, let's go into this and see a little bit of what's going to happen here. There's already a high ground expansion from INnoVation. There's a fairly safe way to get to open up with here, as this probe will actually be blocked off, although we'll be able to nibble that SCV. Reaper is nearby, though. It was actually around looking for the probe and is going to be able to come back and get rid of this now. So this probe will fall. Goodbye, Probey. It was good to see you. Probe will fall. INnoVation just going to be heading back down to the bottom side here, as we're going to be seeing this Adept of Zest coming up towards the upper left, so trying to scout in towards the main base, just again looking to be a little bit annoyed. This is why you build that CC on the high ground. INnoVation, he didn't want this Adept to show up and to actually cause too much trouble, and it would have been able to deny this SCV building with the time it gets here. So all good for INnoVation as his factory is done. First Widow Mine's about to complete even in the starport on the way up as well. Zest Nexus, of course, back at home, pretty much finished up, starting to build up probes, and the Twilight Council is going to be his early build order of choice now, as we see the first SCV taking another couple of hits, and Widow Mine did make it to the low ground, which makes it very difficult for Zest to push further forwards than where he is now, although he's still doing a very good job of stopping the CC from coming down to the low ground. He will try and a depth shade trick here. Widow Mine will unburrow and will reburrow. In fact, he'll just push forwards as that Reaper will somehow not go down yet. Regenerate in a little bit. Widow Mine gets burrowed again, and this time the high ground vision should be able to be held off by his INnoVation, because Zest is not able to push up there without an depth shade or something to see, and plus the Widow Mine's in location. So a good little push out into his natural expansion. INnoVation able to set this up now, able to build up from this point. As back at home, Zest, well, the Twilight Council does what Twilight Council does, but researches that blink upgrade. Pretty regular choice. Robo facility dropping down at the same time now as well, and again the two Stalkers from Zest coming through the middle of the map, heading down to the bottom right hand side. So a couple of Stalkers heading down to the bottom right. Banshee about to pop out from INnoVation, another siege tank on the way up as well. 2 more Marines also coming into play. All of these units from INnoVation just gathering up on the natural expansion as the Banshee start to head out over to the right hand side. Looking to see where it can go, as the blink upgrade being chrono boosted away as well. There's that Nexus still coming up also. Banshee coming out again at the moment, about halfway done. Banshee number 2 that is, and we'll see what INnoVation can do in the early stages. Now, if we look back at his base, still just building Marines, tank, Banshee, a very kind of high damage output setup here early on. We'll see where he builds into after this, because we have recently seen TVP taking some interesting turns in terms of metagame. Mech has been something which a lot of players have experimented with. A lot of aggressive kind of, Marine tank Banshee pushes, for example, have been fairly successful as well. So we could be looking at anything really. I mean, it could also be extra barracks and bio upgrades for the moment as well. So really just waiting to see any indicators of what this might be. Now that's a very fast third base. So even if INnoVation does push here, there's not going to be a lot of... Well, there's not going to be a lot of anything behind it, actually. As we see, ooh, Banshees get found in the middle of the map. Nice catch by those Stalkers. Gets one of the kills. That does reduce the power of a bit of a push. But again, if he does push, he's getting a third base up. So he's going to be building up, and he isn't just going to be sat, you know, really looking to win the game with this attack. As we see Zest in the middle of these Stalkers. I mean, he does see the third CC. And it's a third CC followed up by 2 more gases on the natural, which already sort of says to me that this is going to be very gas intensive. And I really think for gas, you know, somebody to be this gas intensive, you have to be looking at mech, because, I mean, it's 4 gases so early in the game, and it's a matchup where you really do need those barracks up early if you're going to get something done. Now he catches the Banshees again. Observer comes in. That is going to be one Banshee caught, the other one just getting away. Man, INnoVation not having much luck at all. Great map control by Zest so far. Doing a really good job of this. As the Raven on the way up now as well. Factory, another one building, so it is going to be that mech style. Very interesting stuff here as GC Zest still just patrol the map with these Stalkers. Command center about to finish up. Again, a couple of tanks sieged up quite nicely. And the engineering bay on the way down as well. The natural expansion. So yeah, full-on mech play. I mean, again, this was something we've seen a lot over the last weekend or two with the GSL Super Tournament. And in general, it's something players have been trying out. We saw a little bit of it in the China Team Championship as well. If you guys didn't watch that series between Generic Green Wings and Team LP, it was a pretty awesome series, and it is on the YouTube channel already. So that's how good it was. It was our first upload of China Team Championship action this week. So do check that out. It was a good first game. The first games in it are Maru versus Patience, and yeah, very entertaining first game of the day that was. So yeah, check out that video. But for the meanwhile, back in this one, we do see Temple Archives dropping down, and Zest, with all of the pressure that these Stalkers have applied, is now deciding just to back away a little bit as INnoVation going through this sort of build-up, setup stage of the game, getting himself ready to go here. As 2 extra factories continue to build on up. Banshee's still trying to find a way across the map to get more damage done. It's completely out of energy though, so it's very unlikely to get much done at all. INnoVation building into Magfield Accelerators, Cyclones, the Hellions continue, and another Raven on the way as well, so really looking to make use of the Ravens here and maybe get a few anti-armor missiles off are very important. Obviously, Interference Matrix can be absolutely huge as well. Matrix on, you know, big important units on warp prisms to stop warpins. So much usage from this, from these Ravens, and if you have enough gas income and you can afford them, in a build like this, you don't really... The Ravens usually are kind of hard to keep alive with bio when it's moving around the map a lot. It's a lot easier to keep alive with mech because the mech moves a lot slower. You can pay a bit more attention to those Ravens. You're not trying to drop around all over the place, etc. You're not exposed as much. So these Ravens have more of a chance to really kind of see a more useful stage of the game. As I tell you what, these Banshees though have been outright useless, haven't they? Because every single one of them just goes down without hurting a single thing. And there's INnoVation. What a scan that is. Drops the scan just as the 4th base drops down. So sees Zest expanding now to another base now. Coming over to the left, Hellion Cyclones. And a few Marines just poking over as well. Also trying to see what else is going on. There's Warp Prism up the right-hand side. And every few Zealots and High Templar warping in as well. That 4th base just about halfway done. The front going to come forwards already, getting rid of one of these Hellions. The Hellion's going to be chasing now, and well, I mean, not bad. A Hellion 4 Stalker. INnoVation should be fairly happy. He's already got a 4th base as well. Interestingly, though, no Planetary Fortress on the 4th base, so opting for a Orbital obviously feels like with his mech setup, he's very defensive anyways. Still just building a lot of Cyclones, though, which is great if you're out on the map and making use of them, but it means you don't have a lot of kind of standing strong defense in terms of siege tanks, etc., that you might usually expect to see when a Terran player plays mech, as Zealots, Stalkers, and Immortals work their way through these rocks. And as those rocks fall down, a couple of Archons will start to morph in as well. Zest is really building up towards a bit of an attack here, as +1 attack will be done in the near future. Another couple of scans dropping down on the bottom right-hand side of the map. That's Stargate. Just ticking along as well, as here we go. Army going to be moving up, and anti-armor missile will drop down. Hits a few of those Archons, hits the Warp Prism. Oh my god, these Immortals and Stalkers doing a lot of damage. I mean, this army of INnoVation. The front line just kind of disappeared, although he does still have the Cyclones up. Nice Storm. Those Marines obviously more so just a buffer than anything else. Maybe deal a little bit of damage, but They obviously don't have any upgrades, so they're not super useful here. Fourth base just straight up goes down. Those tanks are not part of this fight because Zest is just sitting out of range. Now he has the Zealots who'll come forward into tank fire yet again, blinking on top of the siege tanks too, and then I just have to say, I just don't feel like there's any real use of the Ravens effectively there. Like, the anti-armor missiles hit a few Archons, but beyond that, what did these Ravens really do at all? Not that much, as we're going to see another storm dropping down, and this army of Zest just still pushing through. Zealots already up into the natural expansion. GG's called, and Zest will run away with the game number 1 here in this best of 3. So Zest picking up the first game in this series. We'll take a quick moment to hop into game number 2, and when we come back, it is going to be a chance for INnoVation to redeem himself, and we'll see if he goes for more of this mech play, and if he does, whether he can hold off these attacks of Zest, which just look to break him down nice and early. Game number 2 of this best of 3. The top left-hand side, our pink Protoss player who has won out in that first game, we have got Zest from Ocean Gaming, one of the teams you can see participating in the China Team Championship from every Saturday and Sunday. Actually, now it's going to be every Saturday and Sunday, so that's all over on my Twitch channel. Of course, we're uploading the best matches of those here on the YouTube as well, so that you guys don't miss out. That's the whole goal. Down the bottom right, our blue Terran player is INnoVation, not taking part in those team leagues. Part of team Reciprocity. There we go. Just took a couple of attempts to roll my mouth up to say it. Which is actually just a, I believe they were a PUBG team, and yeah, not a Chinese team like all of these other Chinese teams that have been popping up and picking up the Korean players. Probe from Zest going to move down to the natural expansion here, ready to drop down the Nexus in the next few moments. Of course, generally looking to expand fairly early on, although comes back up, so maybe a Cyber Core before that Nexus. Maybe just checking to make sure there's no block or anything. He is going to go Cyber Core before Nexus, so obviously it gives you that little bit of a faster adept and a little bit of a faster chance to tech up. Gateway finishing any second. There's the Cyber Core. I mean, it's a very minor difference, right? Because, you know, a few seconds after the Cyber Core, the Nexus can be built. So it's a really minor difference, but still, a few seconds on that adept is a huge difference when it comes to arriving on the Terran side of the map and being able to shut down that mining. Sorry, not that mining, but that building on the natural. So, especially on Kairos, a map where you can very easily move across, as we see SCV poking around, trying to block that gas from being taken, which is very nice. Look at that, blocks it again. If you stay right next to the extractor here, you're going to be, or the guys, you're going to be able to stop the building from coming down. So that's what he did. Slows the gas a little bit, and obviously as a Protoss player, you're really reliant on your gas to be able to do anything in the early game, because you're generally going to, after this Adept or so and Warp Gate starts, start thinking about tech structures already, a Twilight Council or a Stargate, etc. And you're just, I mean, in general, Protoss armies are all gas heavy, because early game Zealots aren't great either, so your gateway units also take up gas, so you have to be spending gas on those while building into your tech. Whereas the Terran player is just going to be building Marines, so they don't invest into gas-based units outside of that initial Reaper. So a little bit of a difference between the two races there, as we do see that bunker about to finish up. INnoVation will be able to jump his Reaper inside of it, and the command center here on the natural expansion is also just a few moments from completion. So both players up to 2 bases apiece here, and hopefully heading towards a nice little bit of a macro game once again. Like, game number 1 was fun, but it wasn't exactly like, epic, right? It wasn't like back and forth, who's going to win. I think it was a very fun game to watch as a Protoss player. Very good defense from Zest, great control of the Stalkers, always in position to pick off those Banshees, and then a deadly attack across the map, just, striking INnoVation dead center in the heart and killing them right then and there. From a Protoss point of view, it was very fun to watch. From the Terran point of view, it was like, well, his Banshees died, and yeah, it wasn't really, like, INnoVation had nothing really going for him, so it was not the greatest first game, but we'll see what develops here. And obviously, even if the first game isn't good, in terms of like an overall series, I think it always becomes very important to think, well, how did that first game still play out, right? Because it can definitely change how players make decisions and so on for the rest of the series. And so while the game itself might not have been the most epic of slugfest back and forth battles, multiple long drawn out fights, it can definitely still add a lot to the series as it continues. So we'll see what else happens as we go into this game too. I mean, we see the 1-1-1 finishing from INnoVation, a fast Cyclone, and a Viking on the way as well, just looking to be very safe against what is an Oracle setup, but it's going to be multiple Oracles too. Ooh, even a Magfield Accelerator, so already INnoVation looks as though he could be playing mech here again. But obviously this time the mag field is a lot faster. And with a much faster mag field accelerator, there's that opportunity to be much more aggressive pushing across the map as well. So a few different opportunities here. Oh my god, those he just salvaged the bunker. Wow, INnoVation's feeling brave because he's got a Viking out and a Cyclone on the way. But this is not just 2 Oracles, there was a third in production. It's just about to pop. So Zest has a lot of map control of these Oracles, and he can definitely, if he gets a few more Adepts out, even get something aggressive going. Unfortunately, he loses one of the Adepts at the front. It doesn't look like he was really planning to do that much in that regard anyways. Cyclone is locked on to the Adept though, which means it will not fight back against the Oracles. Although the Oracles will not get the Cyclone killed. The Marines come out to save the day. And that's one of those 3 Oracles already fallen down. Zest not really achieving a lot just yet. As a few SCVs going to be pulled in, going to start repairing up that Cyclone. So Cyclone being repaired. Here's again the Viking chasing a couple of Oracles down to the bottom side. These few Stalkers coming across down to the bottom right as well. Robo Facility starting up on the natural expansion. All of this getting set up and ready to go. Probes building up on that left-hand side, and again, some Cyclones and Marines pressing forward. So you're going to see a couple of Stalkers getting picked off. They will fall. I mean, everything is going kind of right for INnoVation this game, and all of a sudden he finds himself on the top left of the map, approaching Zest space. Sees the stasis ward as well, so we'll be able to get rid of that before he runs into it. Oh my god, I thought the Widowman ran into it there for a moment. Viking's even going to land, and these probes are going to have to pull. Shield battery's already out of energy, and well, doesn't even need the Widowmine to go off just yet. The Cyclone's locking on to a couple of workers. That mag field, when they lock on to Stalkers, will do a lot. This entire game just went very wrong for Zest. And as you see, I mean, all those probes already down. Looks as though Zest is having something to say to INnoVation before the game will wrap up. And INnoVation just... I mean, this is kind of like from one extreme to the other. The first game, Zest is just doing everything right, picking off everything in the right place. And it seems like INnoVation gets that for himself this game, where he picks off that couple of Adepts, the Oracle goes down, and he saves his Cyclone. And, you know, a couple Stalkers found as well. The next thing you know, Zest just does not have units across the map to hold. And INnoVation's push becomes deadly. Well, tied up to 1-1. We're going to a third and final map here in this best of 3. Let's jump on in to see if INnoVation or Zest will reign victorious. Well, we're going to wrap up this series on New Repugnancy. As in the top right, we have the Pink Protoss player Zest up against the Red Terran in the bottom left, Team Reciprocity's INnoVation. Well, INnoVation just turned on all the aggression there in that game number 2, and for game number 3 now, will he look to belay something similar, or will he again head towards that mid-game, moving in towards a mech-based style, with maybe some more comfort that he can actually hold Zest off this time? That's what we're going to be seeing here very soon, as the supply depot about to finish up. Gateway building up in the main base. Everything in the first few moments here looking pretty regular, nothing all too crazy. We do have the simulator dropping down on the main base as well. We'll see if INnoVation... I mean, again, I kind of look back to that first game where INnoVation actually built his command center on the high ground. I wonder if there'll be something like that once again for him, or if he's just going to build on the low ground like he did in game 2. It was kind of intriguing to see him doing that first game. I mean, typically the... I don't know. Typically the CC on the high ground is viewed as bad, even if your CC on the low ground gets delayed, because then you still have to lift up the CC and build it on the low, place it on the low ground. And while it might get delayed, while it might still be delayed, kind of if it goes to the low ground initially, the thing is, if you don't fight for the low ground right away, then you're still going to be delayed from taking the CC to the low ground. So it's not really that much of a difference, which is why we don't see high ground command center too much, despite the meta of getting an early adept and, you know, trying to delay that command center from coming up. Cybernetics core is about to complete, so as that came down once again before the Nexus, we'll see what Zest's plan may be. And gain INnoVation with this very cheeky little SCV, just blocking this gas from being taken as long as possible. I love this as well. It's changing directions with the SCV too to minimize the damage he takes on it. Minimize the damage he takes on it so you can block it for as long as possible. INnoVation with a little bit of a laugh there, a little bit of a giggle. And as he gets out and Zest wants to know what's going on, he's like, what's funny, mate? I don't think it's funny. You've actually just angered me and I'm going to come and kill you. And as we Do see SCV returning back home. Just going to be seeing the Reaper is poking around, dealing some damage to this Adept once again, and just going to be seeing that Stalker is about to finish up in the next couple of moments. And so going to finish in a few moments' time back at home. So again, Marines already on the way up the factory building. I guess back in the first game, maybe that factory was a little bit faster than I gave credit for in the last game too. The factory here is obviously just now on the way up. Wouldn't mind will be starting shortly as the orbital already starting to morph into play. So that's coming through here, and that's Adept and Stalker going to deal some pressure. A couple of Marines will already fall. This SCV going to drop as well. A couple more Marines about to pop out. Can they kill the Adept? And the Adept's going to go low. Stalker for some reason isn't attacking there, and it kind of allows the Marines to survive. This SCV is going to be in trouble too. I mean, this is so many losses for INnoVation. This is what, 4 Marines, 2 SCVs. Now a Mule at the very least is pulled off of mine, and that alone is pretty nice. Reaper decides to come back home. It hasn't really done much though. And those probes do transfer down to that logo. I'm actually not sure why the probes were up in the main base at all. Couldn't possibly be because of the Reaper. Well, Zest making some mistakes. If you look at the income graph, you can see INnoVation's taking a big lead with those probes. Not mining, transferring bases and so on. I mean, the Reaper was already back home, so I have no idea why Zest didn't have probes on the natural already. Huh. Because he has so many. Like, yeah. Huh. Interesting. Well, Reaper coming across towards the upper right, going to be popping up into the main in the next moment or two. Couple of Stalkers, and you're going to be able to push the Reaper away. We're just hanging out up on the top side. Medevac with a couple of wood up mines inside as well, coming through the bottom. Boosting away. Going to be taking a turn in that bottom right corner. And heading up the right side to try and drop in behind this mineral line. Okay, these Stalkers looking for something, but they won't find the Medevac. Medevac will be able to get into the main, into the natural expansion at least in the next few moments without too much problem. There you go. Wood mines will start to drop. A couple of them getting burrowed already, and that is going to be a little bit of a relocation. This probe's still pulling away to the sides as the Medevac dropping a Widow Mine down in the main base, and that's also going to be able to blow up a few of those probes. That's nice. 6 workers killed. INnoVation again having a little bit of a giggle as Zest struggled to deal with this. Well, again, Widow Mine in the natural didn't do much, but the one in the main 6 workers is definitely nice. Medevac gets out alive, even if the Widow Mines didn't. It's been a good little opening here. Stim back on the way up, +1 attack as well. Medevac boosting now down to the bottom left-hand corner. And these Stalkers seem to also be on their way across, trying to see what they can get up to here. Charge upgrade on the way, plus the forge upgrade, forge as well. So other upgrades alongside that forge, alongside that charge, I should say. I'm getting all of the words wrong, aren't I? Another upgrade alongside that charge, a +1, probably armor, I'd say, because he is going charge, and the armor on the charge does so much in comparison to just the attack upgrade. On what is probably not going to be many more Stalkers than this. Unless it does a forge, so whatever he goes for initially, it's not going to make much of a difference. Eventually, he'll have to go up anyways. Oh, no, that's a cancel on that forge. It's the Templar Archives instead. Okay, well, that's deciding to spend his gas elsewhere then. Still doesn't have the money to start up his first forge upgrade. Has some AFK probes as well. I'll tell you what, it's been a bit of a sloppy series out of Zest. And INnoVation, really. I mean, just mistakes here and there in terms of a little bit of, macro and micro mistakes. Errors we don't usually expect to see from these players. That's the thing, right? When you cast in players this good, there's just certain times you don't expect certain mistakes to happen or certain things to happen. So, a little bit rough as we see more Stalkers hanging out on the left. Medevac coming out the left-hand side as well with a few Marines inside of it. The scan, checking the third base, doesn't see one. Obviously pretty strange for a Pros player to have such a late third base here. Typically, if you go for a third base this late, you're going in towards the Colossus opener, double forge, playing very defensive 2 base, and your army's very powerful to make up for it. Now, Zest does move a probe over here now, and he is on 51 workers. He's adding on a ton of gateways already, though he's invested into Storm. I definitely feel there's like an intention of using that base, but, well, we'll see if he gets to, because actually INnoVation might just be happy to start moving out the army supplies. It's actually crazy, like, I mean, I guess Zest is about to explode with the gateways. 6 extra gates, the production is going to go crazy, but I mean, we're talking about like a 40 army supply difference already. That is huge. If INnoVation gets across and is able to do something with this, that'd be amazing. As these Marines start to drop off over here, Shield Battery will have its work cut for it, especially as the stim comes in. Recall comes down. I mean, this alone is going to pull units back into that main base, as Zest is going to go blinking after. Now INnoVation may have the freedom to actually push across the map without having to deal with those stalkers. This one Marine that was left behind actually will get a couple of probe kills, which is nice. Medevac survives too, so this can hit elsewhere at the same time. There's one single stalker of Zest will come down to the bottom. We'll see this army coming in. Bit of biosims ahead, just looking to push that third base. So Zest, his third base might be in some trouble, still trailing by 30 to 40 army supply. His +1 armor not done just yet either. Those tanks going to lift up and get into that very annoying position to deal with over here. Going to get sieged already as well. As we see Marines now moving into the natural. Already a storm going down does kill the medevac, but that will be about it. Third base in some trouble too. The Zealots, do they want to charge into this? Those Marines about to be dealt with over here. There's a storm on the bottom. Does hit a few of those units, but the third base already going down here. Anti-armor missile going to hit onto the Zealots, but the tanks are going to destroy those stalkers, and Zest loses his army. INnoVation with some aggression here, some dominance in the last couple of games to win out this series 2-1. GG's. Well, that wraps us up for today, guys. Usually when we cast Zest and INnoVation, it's a little bit more epic, I'd say. Although this was pretty cool to see, some different builds, I guess. Different builds, different ways of opening. So still a pretty cool series nonetheless. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to drop a subscribe or like the video, etc. And thanks so much for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure as always, guys. We're, again, hopefully back to consistently having these daily uploads. I'm not sure if I can do a YouTube cast on Saturday, just because I still have to go to the hospital every day at the moment to see my mum, so it's taking up like a couple of hours that I don't usually lose, which is kind of usually when I've been doing the YouTube stuff. So we'll give it a best. So we'll try and get a YouTube video up as an exclusive on Saturday. There'll be more China Team Championship uploads tomorrow as well, so enjoy. Thanks for watching. See you next time.